get this rolling. Good. All right, so here's what you need to know. I go live and go basically for free, not in the sense of essentially the ads that might pop up, but in the sense of you get access to me for 5 to 7 minute phone calls. Let me give you the basic rules. I will go ahead and answer your Social Security disability questions. I don't do Medicare questions. Medicare questions, you got to call them. 339-226-6287. Again, 339-226-6287. And with that said, basically, I will answer questions directly onto this phone. You'll call the law firm phone number. Law firm phone number is 407-279-1754. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but the bottom line is you call in, you get 5 to 7 minutes to ask a question, get an answer, no story mode. And pretty much the thing is this: when you pick up the phone and interact with this whole thing, you've got to go ahead and pause or mute the TV or the phone that you're watching on so I can talk to you directly through this phone. Please also remember, have your legal question ready right up front and use a fake name as we do this, because we want to go ahead and protect everybody's identity that calls in to talk. Bottom line is this: we normally start it with a very simple intro, and the intro is, when you call in, I'll answer it, you'll ask your legal question, and then we'll rock and roll directly into it. Now, I know it's late. It's 12:13 a.m. I get that. I know some people are kind of sleeping. Get some crickets in there. Gotta love the crickets. I don't know what all these buttons do. There you go. That's what that button does. So it worked out. So with that said, I'm going to open up the calls now to go ahead and answer questions for people. All right, let's go ahead and begin this process. Hold on. Let me go ahead and put it over here. So let me get this moved over a little bit more. Keep in mind, when you call in, I'm going to have to move the microphone to kind of like point directly at the phone, and I should be able to answer questions pretty darn quickly. So now, also, please remember, if it seems like I'm falling asleep, that's because I'm probably on eBay answering the question while clicking around. All right, let's get into it. Here we go. Speaker is on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. What is your legal question? Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the call. I'm in July of this year, I will turn 67, which means I will no longer get the CDRs. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, so basically you don't get disability CDRs. You still can be reviewed for other stuff. So for example, like, if you did, you improperly reported information about your earnings related to retirement, or you violate some retirement rule, then yeah, they can still snooker you. But to be fair, what you're really saying is, hey, I'm not going to get SGA, or I'm not going to get, severity attacks, stuff like that. No, you will pass out of SSDI onto the other Title II program, retirement. And the big benefit of that is that you're no longer limited by the SGA amount. You can earn whatever you want. You might get taxed at some point, but the bottom line is you can earn whatever you want without having a restriction of them saying, hey, you're not actually disabled.
Okay, great. And one more thing, I think it's OIG or whatever it is. I suspect that they've been watching me at doctor's offices.
Sure.
Should I have any concerns about that when I have such a short time to leave it on that? Nothing has changed. How is that going now? Are they just really hitting hard or what?
So what I would say is this: people who are, actually being investigated, so how I do those little private sessions for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. So people hire me and they walk me through what they believe is the reason why, they think that they're basically being investigated by OIG CDI units. And some people definitely are, but a lot of people aren't. And so can you tell me in bullet point form, what evidence do you have that leads you to believe that they are actually following you, taking tabs on you? Like, have they interviewed people that you interact with, stuff like that?
Yes, they've contacted a family member, and he won't tell me, but I can tell by the things he says that they've talked to him.
Okay, so that has happened before. Although you got to be sure, depending on the family. Are you close with this family member, or is this family member like an extended? Like, how are you sure?
I'm close, but he says things that he wouldn't know unless he was contacted by them. And he's older, and he can be intimidated. Like, they can use police tactics to say, don't tell them they're trying to help me or something like that.
Okay, so what I would say is this: bottom line is you can always do one of those private sessions, catch up with me and go through the details. But the main thing you want to prepare for those is why you believe at the end of the day they would be investigating you. Is there anything in your file that would be of particular interest to you? So that's what I would say. I would basically look into that particular situation, see what the potential harm would be, and then kind of go from there. But yeah, sounds good. I want to grab the next caller and keep rocking and rolling. But good sir, you can always reach out to do the private session, but catch you a little bit later and we'll rock and roll from there.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
I have a 19-year-old college student,
Mhm.
and I'm on SSI. I was wondering, does her income affect my SSI?
So normally what they look to is your spouse. Are they, for IRS purposes, claiming you in any way?
No.
Okay. So are they paying for your rent in total?
No.
So yeah, I mean, they just unless they're giving you a bunch of money that, in some, how much are they giving you a bunch of money each month?
She's not giving me any money at all. She actually has her own, well, she has like side jobs, babysitting, whatever, just cash app income. And it's all random, but it's all for her. Like, she still has her expenses. I mean, she's going to college. She's in her second year, but she doesn't have any home expenses. Like, I don't charge her rent or I don't make her pitch in on the bills. My concern is that she gets her education, but she has to come up with her own extra money for gas or going out to eat or, doing whatever she does with her friends, because I can't afford to help out with any of that. So she makes her own little income in order to make that happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you're separate from her. So what I would say is in this particular instance, no, this would not be a situation where your benefits would be affected by her. Now, if you guys shared in a corporation, if you guys, did things in that regard, then potentially, yeah, but no, this doesn't sound like that. So you should be okay. You should be fine.
Okay. All right. I've been concerned about that for a while. I always thought that her, whatever little income that she would make, that it would affect me in some form or fashion. But at the same time, I figured that's not very fair for someone who's trying to get her education and grow up.
Well, it's not so much that, it's do you violate one of the procedures in place related to this situation? So like, I'm just not hearing her adding money to your situation or her using you for tax purposes. I'm just not hearing the things that would trigger that negative potential for your situation. So for the most part, it seems okay to me.
Yeah, and it's not even like a regular enough money to actually like claim usually on income tax, because it's small amounts. It's gas money that she makes.
Yeah. I just no, it's and look, I see these situations all the time, and I understand the SSI thing because of the resource limits, and they are constantly watching that. But no, I mean, you guys, the first thing that it's not somebody you're in a relationship with, so they're not going to do a deeming exercise. So it sounds okay to me. It should be fine.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I thank you for your help.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful, wonderful night. Okay.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Perfect. We're going to go to the next caller real soon. Let's go ahead and get the processor rolling. Let's see what we got here. We're just going to wait until the next person calls in. If they don't call in right away, then I will call somebody else that we already missed the call about. But let's see what's going on here real quick. Hold on. Let's see. All right, we're just going to call this person real quick, see if we can get them on the phone. Let's see what we got going on. It's a strong ring right there. It's a very strong ring. Howdy, good sir. Attorney Walter Hnot, Disability Resolution PA. I just wanted to go ahead and give you a call. So let's go through this real quick. What is your legal question? And remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Go ahead.
Okay, my legal question was my ex-wife passed away, but we were married for 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm disabled.
Mm-hmm.
Can I draw her my disability and her survivorship?
I mean, does she earn more than you?
No.
It's possible. I would see.
Yeah, I retired as a police officer.
Okay. I mean, I would call the SSA and ask them, because what that usually comes down to is the person who's the higher benefit, you get to basically tap into the higher benefit. So what I would say is it's a solid maybe, but you got to call them and kind of find out what the dealio is there.
Okay.
And then kind of go from there. But it sounds like you have a pension and you were the higher earner and stuff like that. But at the same time, keep in mind, your pension is probably in the FAIRS category, and also, because you probably didn't pay everything into, that. So is that correct? You didn't pay all of your months and earnings into Social Security?
No, I didn't. I was on that new, but I paid Social Security for a while, and then I paid my pension.
Yeah. So you might actually be able to tap into her earnings, because she might have paid more money into Social Security than you did. Because remember, those years, those go into zeros for calculation purposes.
And she was a teacher too.
Yeah. Well, then she might also have paid into a different pension program as well. You got to see what that is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely good, sir. Have a wonderful night.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Perfect. We're going to wait for the next caller. I am just chilling, relaxing. Got to wake up early. We got to work on a bunch of stuff. Ugh. Super excited about it, as you can tell. I hate writing briefs. There's another caller. Hold on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot, Disability Resolution PA. How can I help you?
Hey, Walter. My name is Joe. I'm been disabled since I was a child, and I'm just wondering. I'm about to go through. I'm going through my CDR right now. I'm just turning 60. I was wondering if, when I reach 67, are they going to do another one, or like 66?
So my brain shut off in the beginning of that. They're doing a what with you right now?
A CDR.
Oh, okay. So at this point, they're going to transition to retirement. They're really not going to care that much. So what I would say is, it's the last hurrah. But is there a reason, a specific one, that they're doing the CDR?
They didn't give one. Just my mom got a phone call because I have a representative payee, and it actually came on my phone, and it sounded like the person wouldn't tell me who they were, and it wouldn't tell my mom who. They just wanted to ask questions, and I'm like, I said no,
Right.
because they really wouldn't identify themselves, and so I told them, don't answer anything.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like could be fraud. And so then me and my mom went to the Social Security office near us and told them. And the lady that we spoke to looked up and said there was no CR or anything, but it looked like I was due for one. And so the next thing I know is one comes through. So, but I'm thinking I'm 59, turning 60 in a couple of months, and I'm thinking if they haven't done one in like 8 years, I'm thinking, are they going to do another one right before I'm 67?
Super unlikely.
Or they're just going to.
Whatever they're doing right now, they're doing it. But if something triggered it, which something usually does at that age, because if you're right before retirement, they're going to be looking at that thinking, hey, wait a minute. So what I would say is this, I would try and figure out what's actually going on as to what triggered or brought interest to their attention related to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
now, assuming I get through this, I found out something. I talked to you about my possibility of getting an IP block, IP 24/7 block, and I was thinking I may qualify for an ABLE account. And
what's your current age right now?
I'm 60.
I think they just moved the age. Let's see. What is the oldest age you can be to start an ABLE account? Sorry, I keep getting distracted
You
by
have
this
to be
person.
20. I think
Yeah.
it's 22, but when you have to be disabled before 22.
Okay. Any age provided disability onset occurred before you turned 46. So were you found disabled before 46?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, try it out, get it rolling, put the money in, you know?
And the other thing would be for the IP address, it can't be put in the ABLE account. It would be counted as an asset worth up to $10,000. But if I start I figured if I start what do you call it, a self-funded trust account,
Mm-hmm.
the IP address could be put into that as an asset, couldn't it?
When you say an IP address, what are we talking about?
An IP block, IP 24, IP TCP/IP 24 block IP address setup that can be, they're worth about $10,000. Like if you have the whole thing and you get it set up to where it can be leased or sold. There's 256 IP addresses, and they can either be leased for like 50 cents to like $2 or $3 each, or you could sell the whole block. You go through an IP broker.
I think,
Assuming I can.
but see,
reclaim
that's,
it, that is.
yeah, I mean, but that's not realized gain area. You know what I mean? Like you can put it into a trust, but before it's really going to start affecting you, you have to have a gain or a realizable gain, because you're not an SSI, you're an SSDI in transition to retirement. So your resources
Right.
could be, to some degree unlimited.
Okay. But I get my I get SLMB and extra help, and the SLMB doesn't have an asset limit, but the extra help does.
So basically, you're saying to me you don't want to lose your Medicare.
Right. Well, it's not the Medicare. It's basically pays co-payments and on drugs and doctor's visits.
So this is
So I'm thinking if I put
this is
the IP address and put it into a self-funded trust, I would be protected from that. And then that, if I lease it, have an IP broker lease it, they pay the funds into the ABLE account.
okay, but who controls what happens with the intention of moving the asset? Correct answer is
Right
you
now-
do. You'd set it
Right.
up so that you could do it, which means that
Right.
you've got a taxable asset. You've got basically the control to change the direction of the funds. For Medicare
I mean,
purposes,
once I get it and put it into once it's released, assuming I get it, once it's released, it goes directly into the trust.
yeah. But who sets up and has control and retains control of the distribution of that asset and what that asset does?
Well, the what do you call it? The IP broker would be handling the asset itself.
Yeah, that's a cute
And they would
trustee.
just make a payment.
Yeah, but man, that's not how they're going to view it. They're going to view it as you retain. Is this a trust that you cannot revoke, that you cannot modify, that you cannot change?
Right. it's a trust fund that would ultimately revert to the state on my death.
How many things are you going to put in this?
Just the IP address block and whatever it earns.
Mm. I mean, you know what the problem is before you even ask
basically
me.
Passive income.
It's investment income, yeah. But you know the problem that is going to happen with this, right? This trust and this unit for these IPs is going to grow in value as IPs become more and more scarce, which means it's going to go over the load, and then your Medicare is going to be, they're going to find it.
But in the self-funded, if it's in that self-funded trust, it's protected.
How is it protected?
It's at least this is what AI was telling me, that it would be protected inside the self-funded trust. It's a pooled trust with someone with the with
Okay, so the
Social
purpose of a lot of these trust, and you're saying basically you're going to have a disability trust, right? And then it's going to feed the ABLE account, right?
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
and so this disability trust is going to have an asset in it that continues to grow in worth, and you're worried about Medicare giving you the extra. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking once it's in there, once it goes into the trust, I'm protected from losing Medicare.
Why would Medicare?
The idea is,
Yeah, but why would Medicare assume?
not Medicare, but not Medicare, but the state.
The state assistance that assists with Medicare.
Right. Right. It's kind of like I'm kind of like in between SSI and I don't have full SSI, but I have assistance from SSI, and so what I'm trying to do is protect my.
But you are
myself from
SSDI, correct?
Yeah.
And you're not receiving any
But
Title
I'm on
16 SSDI, or you're not receiving any Title 16 SSI benefits, correct? Like you get over $1,000 a month on SSDI, right?
Right, but I don't make enough. I make less than the amount to where I get extra help.
Wait, so do
From
you
the
make
state.
more than 1,000 or less than 1,000 per month?
I make 1,400 right now.
Yeah, so you're not going to get any SSI help. So you were able to wheedle through the state. I'm guessing you're in a blue state with high taxes. Basically, additional funds to assist you through Medicare assistance from the state. But now you're saying you want to hide that asset because it makes you ineligible, and you want to put it into a trust that will then auto feed the ABLE account, which is where you're going to put the money so that you can put it away and put it away and put it away. And then ultimately the state gets, the asset, but you get to have all that
They
income
get the
throughout the
asset
years.
that would come from. They would get the asset, any assets that are with the inside the trust account.
Mm-hmm. And the assumption is it would be
the value, which would be, I guess, the sale of the IP address.
So I see some issues with it because remember, just because you put it into a trust doesn't mean that you're protected from the state having an interest in what your assets are. They can still review and see what's in the trust. Like the trust it's magical, but it's not that magical.
But it is irrevocable, and it's designated to go to the state when I want to die.
Yeah, but the problem is, right?
So in other words, they would get paid from that. In other words,
and that's a great selling point of, hey, I don't have control over this asset anymore, and the asset is just feeding me what it outputs. But what I think the problem you're going to run into is, well, first off, my main concern here is, hold on, I keep getting, and I know people are calling in because we're past the 7 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, my first issue with this is the trust going to be able to, in that state, protect you? Because we're not talking about federal law here, we're talking about state law. So, yeah, so I don't know which state you live in.
Look into that.
Yeah, and that's the major first issue. And then the secondary issue is that, and I know the other people are calling in. So guys, if you're calling in right now, just give me 1 second. So the other issue is that you are saying, hey, I've got this asset. It's worth about 10 grand. It's going to go to the state through this trust and then they'll leave me alone. But the reality of this is that when it starts spitting off money at some point, you know, and you're stashing it, you're parking it in this ABLE account, you know, I guess what my point to you is, how is this thing going to be growing throughout the years? Because that's going to dictate how they change the rules as to what's allowed and what's not allowed. So like, what's the expected growth path of this particular thing that you're investing to pay you?
Right. Well, from what I understand, it would be like $300 a month.
Yeah, right now. But in 10 years, 20 years, where's that going to be?
I don't know. But if it's in that trust, it's protected from the state.
Whoa, we don't know that.
To the state.
Well, again, we don't know that.
Well, I mean, it's an irrevocable trust.
But again, we don't know that.
Trust.
I don't know which state it is, and I know federal law on that stuff, but I don't know if the state's going to protect you. The state may look at that and say, hey, wait a minute, no. Because remember, if you don't know all the state laws specific to that state, you know, and obviously you don't want to tell me the state because, you know, you want to do this thing and, you know, it's a live call. So the bottom line is you have to go figure out if you truly have state protections. And remember, that's not just a quick Google search, Grok search, or ChatGPT search. That you're going to have to go through the specific statutes as to what authority the states have to audit basically trusts that have been set up. You know, because this asset is going to sit somewhere on somebody's sheets, and you have to know what rights they have to go and find what you have. Because remember, you're attached to poverty-based Medicare supplemental assistance. So like they're going to have an interest in figuring out if you truly are poverty-based, which with that, you're not, which is why you're saying, hey, I got to get this thing moved fast. So, you know, there's some issues here, you know? Yeah.
Right. Well, it's like, I don't actually have access to it right now, and I may not. It's just it's a possibility.
Oh, okay.
That I might get it.
Sure. Let me get some of these other callers, but I mean, you got to figure out the state law because, man, that's going to be the thing that bites you in the ass. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just curious. Thank you.
You got to get, sir. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You too.
Hey, this is Attorney Walter Hnot, Disability Resolution PA. How can I help you?
Yeah, hi, how you doing?
Howdy, good sir.
Quick question about taxes. I've got long-term disability, and you know, I got approved, and basically the 50% thing. It's the only money that I'm getting. My wife's also fully disabled, and she doesn't have no other income either. So basically, when I talked to the tax guy, he said that as long as that's all our income, we shouldn't have to pay any tax other than state tax. But federally, we shouldn't have to pay. But the thing is, I didn't get any back money, which wasn't a big deal because the long term, you know, didn't get paid back, and I didn't care if they got paid back. So they approved me September 25th. So I still have to wait till like around April till I get my first payment. So my question is, do I have to pay taxes on the long term since I'm already approved now in that 6-month waiting period?
So wait, just summarize it down for me, because keep in mind it's almost 1 a.m. and I've been working since 8 a.m. So you have LTD benefits. You're transitioning from which Social Security program to which?
SSDI.
To retirement, correct?
No. I was working and I got hurt, and I filed for SSDI and I was approved.
Okay.
In the waiting process, I had long-term disability through my work.
Sure.
And they this is back in 24. Well, they didn't give me any back money, which is no big deal. Because
Well, that's how it
I'm getting
works.
paid short
LTD
long
grabs
term.
all that. Yeah, you don't get access to that. Yeah.
So my question is, I was approved September 25th.
Okay.
Okay. So I still have to wait 5 months before I get a check because they didn't give me any back money. They approved me on that date of this year.
Oh, so there was no back pay to begin with. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. It was 2 years of back money, and they didn't approve me on any back money because I guess I was getting long term, which isn't a big deal because I just would have had to pay it back anyway.
That's usually not the reason. Usually the reason is because they didn't find you severe until a particular date. They find people backwards in time. Alleged onset date moved, amended to a date that's early, and then the LTD carrier basically calls you up and takes all the back pay because they were paying for you all that time. But anyways, so you got a recent LTD, or you got a recent approval, and you got to wait your 5 months because of the rule. So
Right.
Tell me about this tax situation. What are you worried about? Yeah.
Okay, well, right now I'm still collecting long term, right?
Mm-hmm.
And last year I had to pay tax on it, but I've been approved. So what I'm saying is, from my approval date on, it's only 3 months of that year, last year, because I was approved September. So I'm just wondering if I have to pay tax on that money because, the thing is, I don't have no other income other than Social Security. That's it.
It depends on the
And
rates.
my wife doesn't have any either.
Yeah, I mean, it would depend on how much they paid you and then what the tax rates are for, your particular setup. But I mean, that's more of like a
tax guy.
yeah.
I spoke with the tax guy, and he told me, I told him my amount, my wife's amount. He told me I won't have to pay any tax on it. But my question was, if that was the case and I didn't have to pay tax when I get approved on Social Security, is it retroactive when you get approved? That's what I was asking, basically,
So
in other words, does that make the long term
no, it doesn't.
untaxable if you're approved?
No.
I wasn't sure.
No, the LTD would still have to be taxed. Your SSDI benefits, if they were significant, you had other earnings, could potentially be taxed too. But
no, I don't have any other earnings. That's the thing. I don't have any other earnings.
Then in that instance, you probably, you obviously would not be taxed on the SSDI, but the LTD still could potentially be taxed. Yeah.
But when I talked to the accountant, I told him, I said, well, can I claim my house? And they said no, because you're not going to do the long form. Because you won't have to do long form. If you did the long form, you probably wouldn't get a refund. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or not have to pay, rather.
Well, and the big issue too is like, what are the rates here? Like, how much did you get on LTD for that time period? What was the taxable rate? What are the state taxable rates for the benefits? All that stuff. But again, I'm not a tax attorney. Like, I don't do tax stuff, so this wouldn't be really a question.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I just didn't know if you might know that question. That's all.
Yeah.
But,
no, this would wouldn't be my thing. But yeah, you would still potentially be taxed for the LTD. In that situation, like, it doesn't magically go away for the taxes because you had an SSDI approval.
My situation was kind of weird because my lawyer, the adjudicator, technically they're not supposed to even talk to you if you're represented. Ain't that correct on that?
Your lawyer, the adjudicator, isn't supposed to talk to you if you're represented?
Correct.
No, if you're represented by an attorney, they're supposed to talk to you about case updates, what you need to do to build your claim, all that stuff.
The adjudicator is?
So are we saying the attorney is adjudicating the claim, or are we saying the judge is?
I'm saying the lady that works at DDS.
Oh, so you didn't make it to a judge. So the DDS rep is allowed to speak with you so long as the attorney allows it. So what happened was the attorney,
she couldn't get a hold of them.
Okay.
So that's why she called me.
Yeah.
And I just flat out told her, I said, hey, how much longer is it going to be? I said, I've been waiting almost 2 years and I still don't even have a decision yet. I'm sure you remember I called you like 6 months ago.
Oh, I don't. I don't remember people who called me 2 weeks ago. Because remember, I processed over 3,000 claims. Yeah. So here's the thing. The DDS rep is allowed to go ahead and reach out if they can't. Go ahead and reach the attorney. So kind of the bottom line is that's totally normal, totally fine. But usually they require to go ahead and have the attorney's approval to speak directly to the claimant, which the attorney, a lot of these law firms automatically send in a template form that DDS can directly contact the claimant.
Okay, so my question is, like, if I didn't get any back money, they didn't get nothing then?
Well, no, usually in the contract, there's a provision where they're allowed to charge an amount if, for example, there was no back pay. It's usually $1,800 to $2,500.
And Social Security pays that?
No, you would pay that from your benefits going forward.
Yeah, they didn't tell me anything or send me anything about that.
I mean, I don't know who your attorney is, but like that's the standard way it's done. So
Well, don't they have to notify you, or is it in the contract?
they may, but it's probably in the contract that you signed as part of the representation. Because when there's no back pay, the attorneys have a provision in there to get paid an amount, which could be $1,800, $2,500, stuff like that. And then they'll go ahead and basically contact you for payment. And then if you don't pay, then they have a right to go ahead and reach out to the SSA for potential attachment.
Right. I don't know. Is it possible they'll wait until I get my money? Is that what they're waiting for, to notify me?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have any income coming in, then they might wait. They might try to, basically get you to pay up front from the LTD benefits, stuff like that. But, ultimately, when somebody's found disabled, there's a little gap period. But the attorneys normally do reach out upon finding of disability, at least we do, and say, hey, there's no approval. And how we have it in our contract is that $1,800 gets paid to us if there's no back pay. That way it covers.
The only thing they reached out with me about is they sent me a letter saying they don't think it's a good idea to fight it for the back money, and that was it. They didn't say nothing about me owing them. But I don't know.
I mean,
you're right.
So I would say about 70% of the time I fight the SSA on the alleged onset date to seek an amendment to an earlier date, because that's where all the money is, back pay.
Yeah.
So, I do that a lot, but most law firms, you got to understand, most of these disability law firms are on auto whatever mode at this point, because the claims make so little of money that they just don't make sense to do them anymore. And so that's why a lot of law firms, they do them as like a side thing for their personal injury clients. But a lot of disability law firms are, getting consolidated, if you will, as a result of the lack of payment. And then they're hyper automating everything and doing so you get one law firm that does 50,000 claims. You get one law firm that does 5,000 claims. They consolidate and they try to hyper automate.
Hey, one quick question. The diary, is the diary information in the first letter sent to you and the Social Security, and the diary information, are they required to give it to you if you request it from Social Security, like, when your CDIs will be, CDR or whatever will be?
So you can just call them and ask them that. But I mean, you can get diary information related to it. They tend to not want to hand that out, and they tend to not want to hand DDEs out to claimants. So that is something that they tend to not want to give information out. But if you call them, you can usually get a manager who will tell you when your next CDR review date is.
Okay. Do you think...
Now, real quick, we're way past the 7-minute mark, and I got to answer these other questions.
I got you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You got to get, sir. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, perfect. We're going to take one more claimant. I'm starting to fall asleep, so I'm having a hard time kind of following. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Well, without taking too much of your time, and I appreciate you being on line to help us folks.
Yeah.
I am in Texas. Daughter who is 31, and she has been disabled since age 2, visually impaired, speech impaired, and basically considered an incapacitated person.
Okay.
To where at age 18, I had to get legal guardianship. Well, at age 50 myself, I am now facing disability. I'm in a wheelchair, been for 5 years with hereditary spastic paraplegia. It's not going to get better.
Okay. Yep.
I have recently tried to make sure we're getting all coverage that we should be getting with the Social Security. And they basically kind of left me with the, why are you asking for more? You're getting what you need. My question is, with my daughter being visually impaired, does that disability mean she should or therefore is qualified for more kind of support?
So, well, wait, give me the baseline of all the supports that she's currently receiving.
SSI.
So she's only SSI. She's 20 something. Why wasn't she filed for DAC benefits?
You would have to DAC benefits. I'm not sure, and that probably be, I hate to say, maybe my neglect or oversight.
Okay. So, what I would say is this: you want to go online and download SSA-4-BK PDF, SSA-4-BK PDF, and file her for that program, and then she will be able to tap into the Title II benefits of her parents, retired, deceased, or disabled. And then at that point, she will get a larger check, known as a DAC, Disabled Adult Child Benefits, which allows her to, because she's between 18 and 22, or was proven to be disabled between 18 and 22, tap into her parents' benefits. The only kicker is she needs to watch out with getting married. She can marry other disabled people, but she needs to not marry, because then it resets her account and she becomes essentially the attachment to the new person. I mean, if she marries a billionaire,
that's hardly likely, but
yeah.
my concern is they were telling me that my age, when I had to stop working and file for disability, I think that was 2017, that I did not have enough work credits. So therefore, I don't know how her tapping into her parent stuff, how that's affected, because I don't have enough credit, so to speak.
What's the deal with the father?
MIA. She has 2 older siblings with same father. However, I think when she was born and having the disabilities, he kind of just couldn't handle it and has been out of the situation. I've been raising her on my own.
Okay, well, he's never totally out of the situation because he is linked to her account.
Right.
So, like,
and he was discharged from the military during my marriage to him. He was in the military, was discharged on honorable discharge, whatever that means. But I've hardly banked on any of his help or support.
So what that means is, you gotta go file the form. You know what I mean? I don't know the whole family situation, but the easy solution to this is file the form, see what, basically is available, and then from there kind of proceed. But she will likely be able to tap into some Title II benefits somewhere related to you or the father, and kind of go from there. Yeah.
I was just kind of understanding that she should have some kind of back money to fall on should I leave this earth. And she does not have that. And I don't know if that is my negligence as her advocate, or, you know what I mean? And so this, where you told me to go online, this is a form for another kind of disability, or it's...
Well, you want to do an ABLE account. That's basically, if you're looking to park funds, then essentially, yeah. So look, if you have funds and you want to park funds specifically for the child to have in the future, ABLE account's the way to go. However, remember, the dollar is getting some real difficult times coming up. Trump's in, so the dollar
Mhm.
should do better. If we had more Biden, we would have more bad when it comes to the economy and the dollar's worth. But remember, all these programs, 401ks, IRAs, Social Security retirement, Social Security disability, all these programs are based on you submitting money to the federal government or you parking the money somewhere and the federal government gives you like a tax break. But these tax breaks usually.
Well, I have zero money. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I have zero money, which is why
Oh,
my
okay.
concern is
So,
for the part.
yeah, I mean, then, but so if there's no money, then, it is what it is. But you can also call the
Very
county, other religious institutions that are nearby, and see if they have options for you to tap into.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, sir, and for your time.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful, wonderful night.
You too. Continue on. Get a good night.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Perfect. Okay, so whatchamacallit? So I'm going to put this over here. So that was our live. I'm super tired. As you can tell, I'm kind of falling asleep. Let me catch up with you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Tuesday. Have an amazing and wonderful night. Kind of the bottom line is, if I helped you at all during this session, please remember to like, subscribe, head over to Google, type in disability resolution, or disability resolution Florida or law firm, and throw some stars up there. Also, I don't do Medicare questions, so give them a call here, 339-226-6287. With that said, I will catch you all a little bit later. Please remember to have a wonderful night. Be nice to each other, and we will rock and roll from there. Attorney Walter Hnot, thanks so much. Catch you later. Bye-bye.